Hello, welcome to another Q&A for the San Francisco Indie Shorts Fest 2022. Woohoo! We got some great filmmakers with us here today for the Q&A for the program Secret and Lies. Also in person at the Roxy. In case you've seen this before, it's going to be at the Roxy Live Theater film going coming up soon at the SF Indie Fest Shorts Film Festival. Hey filmmakers, thanks for being here.
Hello.
Hi.
Good to have you. Where are you calling in from? What are some of the different places?
Los Angeles.
Cool. Berkeley.
All right, back door.
Well, LA as well.
LA.
Hey, LA.
Yeah.
Jacqueline, where are you from?
I'm in LA. Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us. Briefly, so we can put your face to the picture. Tell us your movie, what role you had, and introduce yourself, please. Lindsay, I'll start with you.
Great. My name is Lindsay Gary. I am the writer-director of Hummingbird.
And briefly, what's it about, real quick?
It's a little family drama with a dash of sci-fi about a little girl who starts behaving a little oddly at dinner.
Okay, very good. Gene, how about you? Would you like to go next?
Sure. Hi, I'm Gene. I am the writer of the short Fishbowl. And I'll let Jackie describe the film.
I'm Jackie. I am the director of Fishbowl, and it's about it's a family drama. It's set in during Chinese New Year, a family party. Yeah.
Great, thank you. And Adam, how about yourself?
Hi, my name is Adam Elder Montanaro. I am the director and cinematographer for the film Wooden Sea. And Wooden Sea is it's a family drama. It's about a brother and a sister, and with very bad blood between them, trying to see if they can overcome their past and maybe move forward.
Great, thank you. And Adam, since I'm on you right now, what was the catalyst, the inspiration, the seed for this movie, this idea, the script?
Well, I was actually Lauren English and Alex Hurt, the two actors from the film, our old friends from NYU days. And during the pandemic, they were doing distance walks together and bemoaning everything falling apart, and decided that they wanted to make a story. And they have a close personal history, both of them, with recovery. And they wanted to make a movie about recovery. And so Lauren and I worked together, and she called me, and we all got together and decided, let's do this thing. And that was like the catalyst. So the first thing we had to do was come up with a story. And that was mainly done by the three of us. And then Alex wrote the script. And then we, in the middle of the absolute lockdown, we were gifted an incredible location, which is a kind of a harbor and also a boat yard where people live on the edge of nowhere. And there was really nobody there, and the owners allowed us for very little money access to pretty much the whole place. So
where's the location? Is it Bay Area?
Yeah, it's Bay Area. It's Point San Pablo Boat Harbor, and there's an old barbecue joint there, which we were able to film inside. It has a kind of 1950s feel. We shot on a houseboat, on the docks, all around the area. And it was just it was a major gift. And that was what kind of also shaped the story, because we were using the topography of the place in order to sort of follow how the story could, how the conversation throughout this one day could go.
Yeah. Real quick tangent. We find that a lot of films that want to be made, have to be made, get these gifts that you're talking about where, the location falls out the last minute, but then the next location that comes in last minute is actually more ideal and better, or, an actor change or something like that. And it kind of makes the film what it should be, kind of out of your hands. It's in the filmmaking gods and goddesses' hands.
Well, there was definitely a feeling with this location, there was just the location itself was a character in this movie, and it had an opinion, and it created a mood, and it created an ambiance and an atmosphere, and we just were like, let's ride it, let's ride this wave.
Right on. Well done. And Jacqueline and Gene, how about you guys? Where did the start of this movie come from, the inspiration?
I can go first. I would say the story in some ways was inspired by true life. Kind of looking back at when I was my own kind of coming of age story. I went to Berkeley, so yay Berkeley. And I just remember, I was one of those weird people who, well, I guess it's less common now, but I didn't know, I didn't really come into like my sexuality until later, until college. And so the process of that and kind of figuring it out myself, and also dealing it with my like immigrant parents, I had like a very unexpected kind of coming out where I was with someone at the time, but and then when my parents found out, instead of confronting me about it, they went directly to my closeted ex-boyfriend at the time, and basically, went behind my back and kind of confronted him about it, all in the name of love, of course. And so that sort of is just something that was like one of my first kind of like traumatic experiences with my family. And it's always just been kicking around in my head. And for me, writing this was a way of, just kind of reflecting back on it and coming to terms with it, but also sharing like it's like a very specific cultural thing that I think some Chinese and Taiwanese American families do, which is, they'll do whatever it takes if they think it's, for the sake of their kids. And that's pretty universal, of course. But
Yeah.
yeah.
It's a wonderful character and family study. You've really captured, many things. Average family get together, holiday gatherings, young queer representation, Asian representation. You gotta write some more from your life influences. Well done.
Thank you.
Yeah. Lindsay, where'd your idea come from?
Well, I have always been interested in sci-fi and interested in patient zero stories. But I was kind of thinking, what if instead of destructive, there was a virus that was could enhance something? So I'm kind of giving some spoilers, but
well, they probably already
talk
watched.
about this without that. Talking about or thinking about kind of empathy and what like that to the nth degree would be, and like really understanding someone to the point where you can really understand them. Trying not to do all the spoilers.
That's right. They've probably seen the movie already, so it's okay.
Okay, good, great. And the other thing is, I was actually thinking about doing, well, first of all, I was trying to wait for the pandemic to die down before doing something. And then that didn't seem like it was going to happen anytime soon. And I was thinking of doing a different short that was just like too complex to do in the pandemic. And I was 20 weeks pregnant, actually. So then I was kind of like, now or never. And so we were able to actually shoot this one in at home, at my house. And my mom is a studio teacher, so she teaches kids who are acting when they're on set, they're missing, school and everything. So she teaches them their schoolwork, and she's their welfare worker. And so she knew this brilliant little actress, and we were able to make it happen.
Okay, you're answering some of my other questions. How did you cast such a wonderful little actress, and how did you direct such a good performance out of a young person?
Yeah, that was the thing I was actually most terrified of.
You know what they say? I don't know if this is your first film, but even if it's not, for early filmmakers, no kids, animals, and no explosions.
Yeah, no explosions, but we did have kids, animals. I mean, a mouse. It's not like we're trying to get the mouse to act.
It's still a problem.
And no explosions, but there was visual effects, so that was the thing. Yeah. But so little Ella, my mom had done a TV show with her called United We Fall, and her entire reel is all comedy. And she has this huge personality, and she's just this ball of energy. And so I was like, I mean, she's got a great personality. I don't know if she can do drama. And she blew me away we did some director sessions via Zoom. She flew in from Florida, put herself up. And wow. I was just it was a gift, honestly, how professional she was, like her like blocking and hitting her marks and being consistent, and then just really being able to take direction. She was just like this little phenom. If anyone needs a little girl in their shorts
Yeah.
for
Well, and
features,
it's almost
I
like
would
it's almost like your
recommend her
mom
in a
was
heartbeat.
already casting for you. I mean, you know, she already spent time with her, so because casting is a lot of it, right? And kids can be seem wiser beyond their years, and that's what your actor does seem to have.
Yeah, just the subtlety. And I mean, we had to shoot nights because our house has these giant windows and it was a dinner scene, so we couldn't do day for night. So this little girl, it's like midnight. Well, she could only go till, I forget now, like 12:30 or something legally. But you know, she's up way past her bedtime and she's like going crazy. And then I'd be like, okay, rolling. And she would just like settle in and
Wow.
have this. It was again, it was a gift.
Were the parents on set? Did the parents have to be on
Yes,
set?
her mom. Yes, her mom was on set. And my mom was the studio teacher. So I had that going for me.
Yeah, well done. Because I mean, she's carrying the film basically, besides her and her mom, right? So
Yeah.
in the movie. And then Adam, wonderful performance, great acting in all these films. But talk a little bit about your process, casting, how you directed them. You know, I know they're co-writers and you said they had bouts with addiction, each of them, so they can draw upon real life.
Yeah. They had a lot to bring. And both of these, I know both of these actors very well. They're both extremely talented. I'm an actor as well, and I've been cast by Lauren when she used to be a casting director here in town. So we know each other really well. And my job in this capacity was mainly not to pull a performance out of them, because the performance was there. So it was really more about sculpting, what is the journey? And that was a lot of discussions with them, you know, like just talking through things with them. And, you know, I was very lucky in this case, because if I suggested, hey, can we go back on that moment and try, you know, this other approach, they would nail it in the first time, of course, because they're both just tremendous.
That seems like an ideal situation. I'm envious of you, you know, because we already have the rapport, the secret language or whatever, you know, because you know each other.
Yeah.
You're also an actor.
Yes, but I mean, also, you know, that always leads to, you know, like strong opinions on set. So,
Let me. Was there any little bit of you know, friend tension?
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, it's like you know also that the edited version of the film is often like 1/20th of what you might have captured, and there were a lot of times when we literally couldn't resolve a difference of opinion. So we would just be like, okay, we're just going to do it both ways, and. With full credit to these two actors, when they were doing it the other person's way, they gave it their all. So there was no like passive aggressive politicking there. They're, let's try it this way, let's try it that way, and then we'll play with it in post and see which way seems to be the way to go.
Wow, cool. That's a good process.
Well, if you can get away with it. I mean,
yeah, right.
Chasing the light, and luckily we had 5 days, so we were able to sort of get 5 different sunsets to work with, for example, and that way we get to sort of mix and match, because the time span of the movie is 1 entire day.
Right.
So it's like we were like in the mornings we were just doing our morning moments, in the midday we were doing the midday moments, and like that.
Yeah, the male performance, what I remember, it's just he really affected me in a positive way, in an engaged way. It's like he connected, he made me react emotionally, if you will.
Yeah, he's
I felt frustrated like his sister.
Yeah, he's a real pain in the ass. That's right. He really can deliver that very authentically, and that's all I'm going to say.
So kudos, compliments to getting that performance and helping that performance. Jacqueline, as director, some younger actors, not maybe as young as Lindsay's lead girl, but very authentic. The whole family, very authentic. I mean, we might as well have been in a real tight unit family.
Yeah, I think that's a credit to the actors, honestly. We casted them in LA. It was a UCLA student short. It was like my second year project. But
wow.
So I think everyone was, especially the older actors, were very patient with me and very giving of their time and energy. So I'm just really grateful for that. Yeah.
Was there a long casting process to get such collaborative actors, patient actors?
I think it was a long casting process, really. I think mostly because we were originally trying to find older actors who could speak the language,
Hmm.
which was weird. We ended up with actors who couldn't speak like Mandarin, but the younger actors could. So, which is usually kind of opposite. Like
Right.
that was kind of interesting.
Huh. Wow. And this is only your second film?
Yeah, it was our second year film. Jean was also part of the MFA screenwriting program, and we collaborated.
Yeah. Really well done. Really authentic performances. Fantastic. And so, what was a challenge for you as a second year film graduate student making this
I,
movie? What was the challenge?
I think just communicating with actors. I'm just still in awe of like what they can do. So yeah.
So did you learn something about directing? Like, what would you take away from this then? Like, talk less, just watch more, listen more.
Yeah, I think so. I think they always have a uh like an instinct that they gravitate towards, and we can shape that and try it a different way. But they're not just models, right? They think and think of story and all that too. So I think I found that I can trust in actors, so yeah.
Right on.
I also think Jackie's not giving herself enough credit. Like,
Doesn't sound like it.
yeah, I mean, obviously, I think she was able. I think what is really cool about Jackie is, even though Jackie comes across as like, a little bit shyer and not whatever, but she actually has a very clear vision. And when you're on set, it really comes out, and just how she is able to, guide and express to other people what she's imagining. And it's really cool to see.
Gene, were you on set too? Like, the way Adam had collaborators that he's written with and acted with. Were you guys on set together?
Yeah. Jackie invited me to set, which was nice too, because with the small budget production, it's kind of like all hands on deck. So like, and I've like before that, I had some set experience PAing, so you kind of know that every extra pair of hands is very helpful.
Jacqueline, did you actually have to carry some C stands or haul anything away or anything like that? Yeah.
But I've really preferred doing that stuff, so I'm very hands-on. But yeah, Gene was instrumental. The production wouldn't have been as smooth without him. So
And Lindsay, how about you? What the writing process? Any collaborators? Any interesting stories to share? Techniques to share?
About the writing process, not really. I mean, I just wrote it. I mean, I
You just wrote it. Oh, you make it so easy.
I did. Obviously, I have.
How long did it take you? How long was the writing process and then the filmmaking process?
I mean, the writing process actually wasn't terribly long, and I don't remember specifically. I think I had like part of an outline before. There's, life happens. So actually setting it down moved pretty quickly, and I had some gifts like learning about roses. I don't know if anyone like a rose symbolizes secrecy, and so there are certain things that kind of like came in, and I was like, oh, this is perfect, symbolism, and it's just kind of, and it can also motivate her injury. So there were just certain gifts that came to me, and then I bounced it off a bunch of people, so I had feedback, but it was kind of a solo endeavor in that in that way. But I had really incredible collaborators. My cinematographer is just insanely talented, and the editor is actually my husband, and so
wow.
that helped out. We were able to, go downstairs into his office and just cut whenever we could. We cut as much as we could before the baby came, because things change after.
So I got a couple questions then. And, real quick, this is a detail thing because it just popped in my head. How come she didn't bleed? How come the little girl didn't bleed from the rose thorn?
It was just a kind of shallow scratch, but it's, sometimes you get a shallow scratch that then still gets scabby afterwards. And so it's basically, she's just thinking not a big deal.
Huh.
But then later on, when her dad sees it, he's like, oh, my daughter has this terrible scratch. Like, what's she up? Like, why is it?
I was wondering if there's some other meaning.
No, that was it.
And then did you and your husband, how was it ever bumpy or? I collaborate with my significant other, and sometimes the laptop gets wounded.
no laptop wounds. There were some, there's times where it's like, I've been working hours on this. Tell me
You
what you
can't, you
want.
can't cut this. You can't. We worked so long on the shot. You can't cut it.
Yeah, I mean, and also he was doing some of the more simple VFX. And so, there's stuff that you can iterate on forever, and then it's, it is what it is. And
Right.
we had
You got to move on. Let go.
Exactly.
Adam, challenges besides maybe just beating the light, beating sun.
Well, I mean, one of the challenges in this one was that we had 5 people in total making this film, including the actors. So the actors, whoever wasn't on screen, was crewing up, and I was actually directing.
Wait, sorry to interrupt. So you mean like the camera guy, the sound person, your actors, the total crew?
It was complete lockdown. So this was back when there were still blood tests to do the COVID test, and we all had to pod together in an Airbnb for a week. So we basically were all, having multiple roles, and I was not only directing, I was also the camera person. So
Wow.
I guess one of the things I learned is don't direct and also be the camera person.
Yeah.
It's not a very forgiving thing, because that the camera has its own needs that you need to be paying attention to. There's frame and focus, and to watch the actors at work is a completely different part of your brain. So I think we lost a lot of shots just because I was sort of dealing with camera stuff, and then I'd finally like dial into what they were doing and be like, no, I don't think this is working at all. So we ended up, like spending a lot of time going back and doing that. So my big takeaway from this is next time I'm going to put the camera into the hands of a very capable.
Well, that leads me to maybe another question. What'd you learn? And I want to keep on you for a second, because I'm always impressed. Maybe there are some people that can multitask. Everyone maybe says I can multitask, and I know I can't really multitask. I got to be singular focus, especially like I'm impressed with actor directors. I'll say, I don't know if I could ever do that. Not that I'm an actor.
I don't think I could do that.
Right. So even more impressive, your accomplishment here. And that's a takeaway for you. Anything else you learned before I ask the other filmmakers?
Oh gosh.
Don't do that again.
Well, no, one thing I really came home for me this time is that there really needs to be a lot of work done on the script before you pass it on to the next stage. Because once you move into the next stages, it becomes harder and harder to go back and change things. So I would have if I had my druthers, I would have said, let's take 2 more weeks and really storyboard this, really think this through, because we ended up getting out there and, running into problems as you do, and kind of rewriting on the fly.
Mm-hmm.
And then we ended up having to do reshoots because of that. Because we just did things in a slightly different way. So we had to go back out 3 or 4 months later and get a bunch of different shots. And I think all of that could have been discovered when there was, when it was just on the page and just in our imaginations. So I think, that measure twice, measure 3 times, measure 4 times before you begin like cutting.
Yeah,
that's my major takeaway.
You guys are inspiring me. I could talk to each one of you and your films about your films for an hour each individually, but I don't have the time. So let me ask what else was learned by Jacqueline and Jean. What'd you learn? What else?
I don't know. We had a lot of overnights, so that's always tough. I guess really, coming
overnights, meaning you shot like midnight to the AM?
Yeah, like ours was, I think ours was like 4 or 5 p.m. to 5 a.m. or 4 a.m.
Oh,
those overnights. So those are always tough. I still don't like them, but good food and good company always.
Why'd you do that?
We had a lot of night scenes.
So you shot just because it's night. You shot at night.
Yeah, I did. We didn't want to go for day for night, or sorry, yeah.
Yeah, right.
So, but that's one of my main takeaways.
Yeah. Try not to ruin your sleep. Jean, learn anything new about yourself, about filmmaking?
Yeah, I mean, from the writing perspective, I think 2 things. One was working with a director, and that was just, not a process that you often get to do as intimately, and so that was really great. And to what Adam was saying earlier, even though we had many drafts and we were, very like we thought the script was like locked. We still ended up having things happen out of our control where we had to do some rewriting like 1 or 2 nights. So, the best laid plans, but then you learn from that because you work with it and think on your feet. So
Yeah. Lindsay,
Yeah.
are you a wiser filmmaker, human being?
Absolutely. Yeah. I think there are a couple things. One was I am still navigating the balance between trusting your creative collaborators and their instincts and their talents, and then, not micromanaging. So it's kind of like the balance of how much do I say, no, this is what I want versus, well, what do you think? And so I think I could have been a little clearer with some of my intentions. And the other thing is that I think in some cases I was very interested in doing something different, and it didn't always tell the story in the clearest way. And so making sure that you're not just doing something different for the sake of being different if it's not the best choice.
Right. Fascinating. So what do you hope audiences take away from your movie? I'm on you, Lindsay, still. So what do you hope audiences get from watching your film? Feel, take away?
Yeah, I mean, I hope that it makes them imagine like what that would be like. And
Well, I mean, especially as a kid, I always wish I'd had, abilities like mind reader, psychic, right? Who doesn't?
well, but there's also a darker side to it, then, people don't want their minds being read. And, so with every good comes a negative. And I mean, I hope that there's, a sense of like, oh, wow, that's what's happening when they discover that that's what's happening. And yeah, that it just sort of starts a conversation.
Right on. Gene, what do you hope audiences get from watching your work? Your movie?
I think maybe just this, for people to kind of question the idea of like what we were saying earlier, like it for like a family, what does unconditional love really mean, and to kind of inspect it a little bit more.
Yeah, nice. Jacqueline, what do you hope audiences come away with?
I think Jean just put it perfectly, honestly.
Well, I want something new. Give me another hint.
Just to see themselves in some of the characters and kind of be on that journey with them and feel that empathy, and yeah.
Right on. Very cool. Adam, what do you hope a takeaway is maybe for audiences?
Well, it's interesting that Gene talked about unconditional love, because I felt like, my movie is about family and the way that family can sometimes intangibly and in ways you can't quite understand, just that community and togetherness can heal. Even if nothing particular was said, even if there was no great aha moment, it's just the being present for somebody else is enough sometimes. So you don't feel alone. So I feel like that's what I'm hoping people take away from it, that there is a magic to family, there's a magic to community, there's a magic to just being there, to making the decision to take on somebody else's garbage and just be with it.
Yeah.
And look, I'm not going anywhere.
Right. Even just to be present, show up, be in person, right?
Yes, exactly.
And that's why you guys are going to be in person at the Q&A at the Roxy. No, but well said. Very deep, and truly agree with that and got that from your movie. Any last comments that I didn't ask you or you guys wanted to share with us, Lindsay, before we sign off here? We don't have more time. Anything you want to say before we go?
Well, I mean, I did want to tell Adam, I loved the reveal, or not the reveal, but the crossword puzzle as an entry point to that that memory. I thought that was really strong. And for Jackie, I really liked the framing when the friend was being confronted at the fishbowl. I thought that was really strong. And so I just wanted to comment on those things that I really loved about your movies.
Nice. Gene, anything you want to say before we go?
Yeah, I mean, I also loved both of your films a lot, and I'm hoping I'll be there in person. So hopefully I'll meet you all and we can talk more about your films, because I'd really love to.
Jacqueline, you're next on my screen. Parting words.
Yeah, same. I really love both your films, and hope to talk over email or virtually or elsewhere.
Yeah, you guys should connect outside of this Zoom call. Right on. And Adam, any last parting words?
Yeah, well, I haven't yet had a chance to watch all the movies yet. I'm planning to go through all the ones that I have now before we get there. I'm really looking forward now to seeing it. I was kind of plugging my ears when we were talking about any spoilers. But I'm just really looking forward to this event. I'm really looking forward to being in a room physically with other filmmakers and just talking the talk.
Right on. Me too. I'm looking forward to meeting you guys in person. And my parting words are thank you for making your films. Congrats for making your films, just getting them done, not to mention being selected for our film festival. Well done.
Thank you so much.
Thank
And
you.
I look forward to meeting you in person. Thanks everybody for watching. Continue watching more independent short films at sfindie.com. And thank you for supporting independent cinema and movie theaters. Goodbye, everybody. Bye, filmmakers. Woo-hoo.
Bye.
Congrats, guys. Ciao.